How's it going, you guys? Scott with Everyday Home Repairs, and we have episode 4, 3 more questions to help you guys around the house. But first, let me call your attention to some additional resources we have that will help you out and probably become handy in the future. If you haven't already, check out our everydayhomerepairs.com website. Now, this website has predominantly been filled with blog articles that just go into more depth and detail into the videos that we put out on our YouTube channel, and then also share updates as those projects age over time, giving you feedback of how durable and long-lasting was that solution. But now at the top, if you go to the menu, you're gonna see a Q&A forum. If you select on that, then you're going to start to see all the different questions that have already been answered in our first 3 episodes, so 9 questions total. If you dive into that, you'll see the original question posed and any pictures, if we had pictures for that specific question, and my corresponding answer. The answer is going to have a link to the YouTube video at the exact timestamp that we were talking about that question, a summary of my answer, and then links to any of those additional resources, like if we had a video on Everyday Home Repairs YouTube channel that's going to help with that specific question, like in this issue where I'm showing how to do the weather stripping on an exterior door. I'll link that right there so you just have one-stop shop and easy to get around to get the answer that you need. Then you can go back up to the high level and you can either just look at the continuous list that's updated. So as soon as an answer comes in, it will go to the tops of the latest topic or the latest question that's been answered is going to show at the top. You can drop down to look at different subsections as those questions start to be populate throughout the different categories or subsections. And then also, if you just want to find something, you can Command or Control F, depending on if you're using a Mac or a Windows, and then just type in, let's say, gutter, and then you'll see it highlighted to the specific question. Or maybe we want to look at window screens. There we go, we got screens. So you can kind of quickly search those questions from the long list. And as we improve the website, we will also improve the searchability so you can quickly get to the question that you want to see if it's already been asked and if you already have an answer basically ready for you on the website. So jump over there, let me know what you think. I appreciate any feedback you can give me. You can even give me feedback through the Everyday Home Repairs Help YouTube channel. Just let me know what you think. If you find any bugs, any issues, I really appreciate your help. But without any further delay, let's jump into our first question this week. So the first question comes from John from Illinois, and it's a flooring question. There's 2 pictures associated with this and it says how to choose flooring to complement existing flooring. So it looks like we got a bit of a construction project here. We definitely have some demo at a kitchen, transition to a living room or dining room space. We have larger wood planks that are probably 3/4 of an inch thick for the subfloor. So this is a little bit older home because you're not seeing OSB or plywood as your subfloor. And then we have probably an oak floor, very narrow boards there, probably only 1/2 of an inch thick if I had to guess. So the question here, complement. I'm guessing you do not want to exactly match this flooring, which can be a little bit difficult. If you did want to match the flooring, I probably would take this little section off here. I would take it with me around to flooring stores and try to get the exact match. Specifically for me, depending on the price point you're looking at, I would cut that right here, make a nice transition, and then I would just get some new flooring, like you said, to complement that other flooring. What I would do is I like vinyl plank. Specifically, I like glue down vinyl plank. I would look, you're in Illinois, let's say, do a test here, Peoria, Illinois. Go to Peoria, Illinois. Let's go flooring stores. See what we got. What I'm looking for here is, for DIYers, we usually would default to like Home Depot, Lowe's, or in the Midwest here, Menards. The problem with that is usually they don't have much flooring on hand. They might only have 200 or 300 or 400 square feet, which might not meet your job that day. Usually, if I had to generalize, the knowledge and the helpfulness of the attendant or the person at the flooring department is limited at those stores. So I prefer to go to a local flooring supplier that services landlords and professionals in that area. Usually their staff, it's usually locally owned, and their staff is top notch and can be really helpful on projects like these. So if I was looking in Peoria, I would bypass these ads and I'd go down to the organic sources here. I would look at reviews, and I definitely want to see above 4.5 stars and above like 25 reviews. So Ron's Carpet and Hardwood would be a contender. Carpet Weavers would be a contender. I think those two are where I would start off. And again, if you want to match that hardwood, take it in there. Maybe they can help you, and they can usually point you in the right direction, whether they actually have a person to install it for you or if they're just helping you pick out the right flooring. And usually their supply on hand is much better. Not always, but usually. So hopefully, John, that helps out. And don't forget, I'm going to add this question over to the forum. So by the time you guys are seeing this video, the question will already be in the forum. And if you have any different feedback, awesome. Jump in there, put your answer down there, and we'll be able to upvote that right past my answer if there is a better answer for this exact question. And then John, you can also jump in and provide additional clarification if I was a little off base in my answer and you need something a little bit different for your project. Question 2 is coming from Corey, also in Illinois, and it's an electrical question. Upgrading fluorescent lights with LEDs, keep ballast, remove ballast, replace entire fixture, what is the best route? This is a pretty common question because normal fluorescent 4-foot light bulbs are becoming a little bit harder to come by with everything switching over to LED, so it is something a lot of us need to face. So if we jump over to Everyday Home Repair's YouTube channel and we search LED, I have a few different videos out there that are going to help. So one, I did replace a Kitchen 4-foot fluorescent light fixture with a new light fixture that had LEDs. So in that case, I took the integrated LED route, and that one will walk you through the whole process. So I would not be removing ballast. I would not be rewiring the old fixture. If I was going to go down that route, I would just get a new integrated LED light fixture. One caution I would give you is think through the overall footprint of that original light fixture. And on your ceiling, take a look at that, because often what happens is that's been there for a while. And if you go to remove that, the paint color or fading or whatever is going to be right around the footprint of that base. So if you run out and do not consider the dimensions of that base against the ceiling, you get a new light fixture, let's say an integrated LED light fixture that has a much smaller base. Well, now you all of a sudden might have some type of drywall, maybe texturing, painting. You have a much larger project on your hands, so try to get a base a little bit larger where it might cover up those imperfections. Additionally, if we scroll down a little bit more, have several different videos on lights and specifically upgrading to LEDs. Here's another one. So how to change long light bulbs. These are the 4-foot fluorescent light bulbs. Specifically T8 and T12 are going to be the most common 4-foot fluorescent light bulbs you deal with. In this case, I did replace them with LED light bulbs. If we jump over to Home Depot and we take a look at what they got, specifically you're looking for this terminology, plug and play. That means it's going to be compatible whether you have a ballast or don't have a ballast, and it should be pretty much universally compatible to your T8 or your T12 light bulbs. And then the only other thing you need to consider is the Kelvin scale, right? So what's the color of the light? Are you going for a 3000 or 3500 Kelvin, which is going to be a yellow, warmer light, good for living spaces, not as strenuous on the eyes? Or do you want a brighter kind of blue daylight range in the 5000 or 6000 Kelvin? Maybe better for your workshops where you want everything lit up as much as possible, but you're not spending a ton of time there, and especially not time at night where you really don't want those higher Kelvin scale lights, which can put a little more strain on your eyes. So Corey, hopefully that helped you out, and don't forget, jump over to the website and add any additional comments if you need some further guidance. And then finishing up on question 3 from TJ in Pennsylvania, and it's an exterior question. How would you go about adding a porch post where there was no post before? FYI, post is only decorative and will serve no purpose providing structural support. My goal is to create a privacy barrier between me and my neighbor and also move the gutter downspout to that side to solve a drainage issue. All right, so taking a look at your pictures, and one, thank you for adding all these pictures. It really helps. So we see the small roof line. This is probably like a duplex or a triplex, so you want just a little privacy to your next door neighbors, and that seems pretty reasonable. Non-structural, you just want something there, and then maybe you'll put up some lattice or something to give you that privacy. So we see the soffit, we have the small corner here. I am just instinctively thinking through putting a 4x4 post right here in the corner, assuming I can drop that post straight down to your concrete patio here, and that 4x4 post is going to land on your actual patio. That is an assumption. The only incorrect assumption would be is if that corner right there is actually hanging out past your patio. Then in that case, maybe you're hugging the inside here and then attaching that 4x4 post all the way up and possibly even past your soffit, and then cutting your soffit around there, trimming it up so it looks like it's somewhat integrated. But my initial impression would be just going to the bottom of this flashing since it's not structural. Now I would be toenailing in the top of that 4x4 post, assuming there's some wood behind here to hold that top part in place. And then down here on your actual concrete patio, I would be putting a bracket with probably some type of 1/2-inch anchor anchoring that bracket down in the 4x4 post being set on top of. So I did something similar here on a rehab project not too long ago. So this was the front of the house. It had these 2x4s that were just in super rough shape. They had a little bit of support that they provided, but again, not a ton of support, and they were pretty beat up. So what I ended up doing with that is pretty similar to your situation. What I did is I ended up using 6x6, so 6x6 cedar posts, and I put those 6x6 cedar posts actually coming from this planter box, this concrete planter box with a bracket on the bottom, 6x6 posts going up, and then toenailing into the structure up here. And then I used some cedar 1x6, I think, maybe a 1x8, to kind of give a little more trim work and to finish that off. To get the deeper cedar look, I did use some conditioning to seal that up, but give you a little bit deeper look, and then just finish it off with some black trim accents. And it overall, I mean, changed the entire look of the front, especially from what we were coming from. So I would do something exactly similar to that. Now, whether you use cedar or not, cedar can be a little bit pricey. If you do use a pressure treated, just know that's gonna have a green texture to it. It's gonna take a while to dry before maybe you can do something with it in terms of applying some stain to that. You're gonna kind of keep it in that state for a month or 2 months or 3 months to let it dry out, let the moisture come out, and then you can maybe set some stain to it and give it a little bit more color and a little bit more look. And then the only other direction I'll give you is this is the type of bracket I'm talking about. It'll have a single like 1/2-inch anchor into your concrete. To sink that hole, you're going to need to pre-drill that hole with a actual substantial hammer drill. You can probably do it with your standard drill that has a hammer setting, but it's going to take some time. Those do not do the best, opposed to an actual hammer drill that's going to provide a lot more punching power to drill out that hole. All right, TJ, I appreciate you sending in that question. Hopefully that helped you out. And again, if you have those follow-up questions, go over to Everyday Home Repairs and you'll see in the forum, you'll see your actual question, you'll see my answer. Go ahead and put those follow-up questions in there. And if you guys are just viewing and you're like, Scott has no idea what he's talking about, which can happen every once in a while, go ahead and put your response in there. If you guys do this for a living, do it every single day, you're gonna have a wealth of knowledge past what I do. So I appreciate you also giving feedback and just helping out the overall community. If you haven't already, don't forget, just jump down there, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. We're trying to get a little traction on the Everyday Home Repairs Help channel, which is gonna take some time to build up. But I appreciate you guys sticking around, and we'll catch you on next week's episode. Take care.